link. Just take a look at that. And that's a lot of those balls. That's what I got him doing. What the fuck?
In 2010.
Yeah, the CP3 Elite Camp. You'll see a bunch of guys like Harrison Barnes hadn't even started North Carolina yet. Kendall Marshall's in there. Seth Curry's in it. You'll see Kemba Walker. Stephen Curry's in there getting a little workout in. Just on the side, you'll see him participate. You know, I've got my little cousin, never even tried a Euro step in his life, doing Euro steps now.
Nice.
And he's almost 6'4", and he's 13. Like, everybody's got him in the post. I'm just showing him guard, teaching him. Yeah, I'm teaching him guard skills.
Yeah.
And because even if he gets to be 6'7", 6'8", you got to be a perimeter-oriented big guy now.
Right. You got to be able to put it on the floor.
Like, you'll see. Yeah, when they put the cones really close together and they're dribbling through the cones, that's the ones I was getting tired on, but going like game speed. And I do it where I set it up right about like a little behind half court, so when you get through the 6 cones, you got to explode to the basket, make a layup.
See, I'm good if you
shoot a
like
jump shot.
what they just did there, like they put the ball on the floor and did a little step back. I'm good with that. But if I got to go past the step back, I'm gonna end up losing my handle.
You're Pete, you're just like it should be. No more than 3 dribbles, and you're good, right?
No more than probably 2 dribbles.
You don't have it after
2 dribbles, and I start panicking. Like basically, I'll run off the screens all day, the entire game, and you know I didn't ever really do much. I mean, I could spot up all day. Actually, I prefer spotting up better. Leads. Tim Duncan is only one of 3 players in NBA history to win over 1,000 career regular season games, joining Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Robert Parrish. He's only one of 2 players to win an NBA title in 3 different decades, joining the legendary John Salley. Duncan retires ranked 14th in points with 26,496 points scored, 6th in rebounds with 15,091 rebounds, and 5th in blocks with 3,020 blocks in the regular season for his career. He's one of 4 players to rank in the top 15 in all of those categories, joining Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Shaquille O'Neal. The way he went out, basically complete opposite of Kobe Bryant with the basically goodbye tour. I thought it was very fitting of Tim Duncan because he is a quiet, private guy. Basically, a letter was released by the San Antonio Spurs, and that's how everybody found out. Matt, what do you think about the legendary Timmy Duncan retire?
I'm with you. I'm with you. He absolutely went out in Tim Duncan fashion, just quiet, no media, nothing. Just say, I'm done. Mic drop. That's it. But definitely, you know, greatest power forward of all time. You know, just class personified in every way. You know, the guy. I don't think the guy has a bad bone in his body. You know, he's just one of the true good guys, not just basketball, but in all sports. You know, and he's a good example for. And I'm going to touch on this because a lot of people, the draft was a few weeks ago. We got all these underclassmen coming out, right? Tim Duncan played all 4 years and is the greatest power forward of all time. So that says something for staying in school, and learning how to play the game.
He's the last impact 4-year guy.
Exactly. Well, yeah, for a career, I was going to say maybe Draymond Green, as he made an impact, but not like Duncan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing Green to Duncan. Yeah. No way, not even close. But the guy was fantastic, and I think someone posted on Twitter today, and I'm sure we all remember this. They're playing. Were they playing Dallas at the time? I think Joey Crawford's refereeing the game, and he's calling technicals on Duncan, and Duncan is just like, and he just starts laughing. So they keep playing, and Duncan is laughing. And he walks, and Joey Crawford sees him, and he walks, he ticks him, he tees him up again and throws him out of the game. And you just look at his teammates' reaction. They're just like, and they're like, what? Oh, classic Tim Duncan.
The thing about it,
I'll say this, though. I was going to say one thing. one thing that I loved about Tim Duncan, and he, outside of Joey Crawford, he had a lot of pull with the refs. I remember watching a game. Tim Duncan goes up for the shot, clearly gets hit, no call. He turns around, looks at the official, whistle blows, foul, 2 shots. Like 20 seconds after the play, I was like, there we go. I've never seen it before, but he deserved it. It was a foul.
The one thing that sticks out to me, which is kind of recent, is a 3-pointer he hit against the Suns in the playoffs. If y'all don't remember, there was a first-round matchup. That was pretty sick. I thought you were going to say when he did it, when he hit that 3 against the Lakers in 2004, but Derek Fisher backdoored him, even though Tim Duncan took like 4 steps to get the, even though he took 4 steps to get the 3 off. No, I don't want to bring up Fisher.
That's why they had to count Fisher's shot, though. It didn't get off, but Duncan he changed his pivot foot 4 times to get the shot off, so you had to count Fisher's. But we don't need to talk about that. It's about Tim Duncan, great player. Obviously, you know, I can't think of. I mean, I don't really personally know anybody who has any power forward ahead of him in the all-time rankings.
I know some people have Kevin Garnett, but I mean,
no way. Get out of here.
I'll never forget that.
Garnett's great.
Was it? I guess it was. It was part of that Dallas ejection when he was laughing on the bench and got teed up and ejected.
That's what I was. That's the one Matt was talking about. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah. And for me, it's like you don't realize how low key of a guy, you know, he was until you hear about a lot of the things behind the scenes. Like, I think recently, didn't he pay for somebody's plane ticket that basically got left behind, a mother with her child? He felt bad and basically paid for their plane ticket to get home, and and didn't think anything of it. And honestly, the lady didn't even know, to be honest, it was Tim Duncan, and then she just happened to be telling the story. And they're like, "Are you talking about Tim Duncan?" And they're like, she's like, "I guess," and she had no clue. But that's the kind of guy he is. He didn't want to draw attention to it. And I mean, there's not a better power forward. I mean, you can put a lot of people put Kevin Garnett, like you said, Lance. You put Charles Barkley in there. They don't compare. I mean, Tim Duncan.
The only
changed the game.
The only way you could make a comparison is if you move Hakeem to the 4. Then you got an argument.
Yeah, but I believe Hakeem at the center.
But then people say Duncan has been a center. Then people say Duncan's been a center like for a while now, so they call him a center now. But I still consider him true.
His best years he was power forward though. In his prime years.
Right.
So I mean, he goes out with class.
He can obviously
much better than, in my opinion, than Kobe Bryant. Because I mean, except for that last game, the 60-point game. I mean, to me, Kobe Bryant just struggled, through a good bit of it. And you don't have to draw attention. Just go out in the limelight and leave it be. Yep. What does this do to impact the Spurs for next season?
I don't think it really does much, honestly. I think they'll be fine because he wasn't playing a lot of minutes anyways. And as blasphemous as this may sound, and I hope people take it.
Gasol and Aldridge in the starting lineup together.
No. What I'm saying is Gasol at this point in his career is a better basketball player than Tim Duncan. He's 35, 36. Duncan was going to be 41. So I think they're going to be okay. Duncan made good. He was good defensively still, but he couldn't stay on the floor. He was just too old. And you could really see it you saw it this year. Yeah. Like last year, everyone was like, "Damn, how is this dude doing it at 39, 40?"
Right.
This
but
year,
when they put the playoffs.
Father Time caught up to him this year.
Watching him, man, against the Thunder, it made me sad.
Yeah, that's why I think they're going to be fine. It's the Spurs. Powell's going to fit just fine into that offense. Defensively, he'll be just fine. Aldridge is the one I think you got to worry about. Powell's going to be fine.
So now you want to say good things about him.
Well,
I never said bad things about Powell. I just didn't think he was an all-star.
The thing
He's still
with
good.
The Spurs, they're actually going towards the youth movement a little bit for them because they got a couple of their overseas guys. Bertan's coming over. He's a shooter. You've got Kyle Anderson probably being able to step into a bigger role. And then you've got young guys like Jonathan Simmons coming in to kind of ease Ginobili leaving next season.
You think they trade Danny Green?
I can see Danny Green maybe at the trade deadline if they can get some younger pieces back. But I think Danny Green still gives you a little bit of a two-way guard, and that's kind of what they want to turn Simmons into, a two-way guard to be able to defend and score. He just doesn't have a good enough three-point shot right now.
If Simmons can develop that three-point shot, watch out. That boy can play. And I know I'm being a little biased, him being.
He's good though. No, I mean he made it pretty far.
In the D League, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing so Pete, real quick, Kyle Anderson, Mr. Slow-Mo. I think all three of us. I love Kyle Anderson. I know some people don't. He takes Boris Diaw's role,
to be honest.
He takes the Boris Diaw role, right?
Correct.
Yeah, they're kind of the same kind of player.
Pretty similar. And the only thing I look for with Anderson is he needs to stop being passive when he's open. Take that shot, trust your shot, and take it.
Yeah.
And Bertans is going to open the floor up because I mean that kid is lights out from 3-point range. So he can play the 3 and the 4. So they'll be okay. They're going to have to. They got Dwayne Dedmon to be your kind of rim protector. So if Gasol can't play a lot of minutes, you still have a rim protector behind LaMarcus Aldridge, and they're going to be okay. They're still my second team in the Western Conference. Matt, you probably still have them as your first team, and Lance, I think you were with me with.
Yeah, I still have Spurs at 1. Yeah, I've still got the Spurs 1.
So it's going to be definitely interesting to see them next season as they kind of gear towards because. They're going to have to make a decision on Tony Parker as well because right now their only backup is Patty Mills, and then Dejounte Murray is basically a 2 guard that they're going to try to convert into a point guard. So we'll kind of see what can happen there. I like Bryn Forbes, who's playing in their summer league. People are probably like, who the fuck is Bryn Forbes? But he played at Michigan State. And if you watch Summer League at all, yes, I know it's Summer League, but he has lit it up and has a combination of being able to shoot from 3 and actually handle the ball a little bit. So curious to see kind of what they do to develop a point guard over the next 2 years because I think Parker is done after about 2 years.
Or a year.
Mm-hmm.
A year, I mean, it could accelerate.
Yeah.
Just depending.
He has 2 years left on his contract. I know that.
Yeah.
I want to say something real quick because we got our good friend Cheryl in the chat room. You know, we know she's a big Warriors fan, and me and her were going back and forth on Twitter about my pick.
She's been kind of quiet since they lost, though.
Yeah. No. That's okay. No, that's okay. It happens. She has every right to be excited now that they got KD because I do believe the Warriors will win the championship this year. I just think the Spurs will be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference.
All right.
Warriors could be 4 and it wouldn't matter. They're coming out of the West as long as they're healthy. But the Spurs will be number 1 because I am one of the few. I know a lot of people. We talked about it on Dead End Sports last week when we were on the show, their podcast, and a lot of them think that it's going to be a relatively quick transition. I still don't think it will be. I think it's going to take 30 games. You can't add a player like Kevin Durant just because he's the kind of guy you can pretty much fit. It's still going to take time. He's playing with a championship team. He's playing with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, It's going to take time. And I think defensively with rotations, the style, that's going to take time too. Even though I think, Pachulia can do some things defensively, I just think it's going to take time for that team.
I think with what pieces they're putting together with the David West in there as veteran leadership, I think, having Livingston, having Iguodala, I think that'll calm down some of the nerves coming out. But I do think it's going to take them a solid 10 to 12 games to get some of the kinks worked out. But I think that they'll be okay overall. We obviously aren't really going to worry about them on the offensive end. It's going to be as far as rim protection on defense and kind of, really what they can do because they're going to have to still hide Steph Curry on defense. You hope that Kevin Durant can show glimpses of what he did in the playoffs, being able to guard stretch power forwards and being able to guard the post a little bit if need be, and just go from there. It's going to take a little bit, as any team does, but I don't think it takes them 25, 30 games necessarily. But it'll all in due time. I mean, we've got to see what the Cavs do as well, because basically it's like everybody's predicting, Cavs and Warriors again, part 3. The Cavs, they're going to have to, go with no Dellavedova behind Kyrie Irving. So when Kyrie Irving gets burnt on defense and you have to sit him down for a little bit because he's not effective on the offensive end, who do you bring in? Mo Williams. They haven't re-signed J.R. Smith. They get Mike Dunleavy, but at this point in Dunleavy's career, I don't think that he's able to help them immensely. They lose Mozgov.
I think Dunleavy is an upgrade over Richard Jefferson, actually.
I think he's an upgrade, but he's not gonna. He's not gonna be.
He's not a game changer.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
He's not a game changer. No.
And I think losing Mozgov is going to come back to haunt them, because I really don't think many seasons of Tristan Thompson at center is going to last. In all honesty, he's 6'8". I mean, that's a little bit undersized.
And he's not skilled.
Yeah.
By Green.
He's not a skilled 6'8" guy. That's the problem.
Los in the chat's asking about Kay Felder. Yes, Kay Felder is on the Cavaliers. There's no way that I think Kay Felder plays a big role for the Cavs this year. He'll play kind of like Jordan McRae did last year.
Are we talking about summer league players right now?
Kind of, sort
of. He got drafted in.
He got
drafted in the second round. He's a good player. He's a good player.
I think that
he was a nice sleeper guy in the draft.
I honestly think that they probably go with trying to get another veteran squeezed in there somehow.
If LeBron ain't got time for Wiggins, he sure ain't got no time for Felder.
Yeah, and they still got to figure out what's going on with Kevin Love. We don't know. I mean, anything can change in any day. Speaking of change, before we get into the summer league, I want to throw out a rumor that is out there right now. It's in the early stages. It's being reported by Boston.
Pete.
Real
quick, Pete. Yeah, let him know who this is a guy. He was in on the whole KD. State.
Let me
this dude. He knows that he's a legitimate source. It's not just some crazy dumb rumor.
Yeah, legitimate source. It is Keith Smith, who does a lot of stuff for Real GM. You can find him at Keith Smith NBA. That's his Twitter handle. Basically, he threw out that there is a pretty substantial rumor that the Boston Celtics, Sacramento Kings, and Los Angeles Clippers are in a three-way deal discussion involving Blake Griffin going to the Boston Celtics, Jay Crowder and some other pieces going to the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, my God.
And Rudy Gay going to the Los Angeles Clippers. So I literally threw up in my mouth a little bit.
This is gross.
Well, thinking about Paul Pierce in the same front court as Rudy Gay. So that was the first thing.
What is Rudy Gay going to do?
So,
I got to say, if you're the Sacramento Kings, that's a beautiful trade.
Well,
it's
because they
absolutely
get
wonderful.
the Brooklyn pick.
Yeah.
One of the Brooklyn picks.
Oh, they're giving away Brooklyn picks?
They're getting character guys.
And they get Jay Crowder, who can defend and hit the three. That's kind of what
he's
they're
so
looking
underrated
for.
with his contract right now, dude.
Yeah, Sacramento gets a character guy. He's going to get in. He's going to play defense. He's going to fit perfectly with what Dave Yorger likes to do. Yorger, defensive-minded coach, really tough-nosed guy, hard-nosed guy, fits perfectly in there. The Clippers, the Clippers have to be, signaling rebuild coming because I don't know why the fuck you bring in goddamn Rudy Gay.
So this is what you have if you're a Clippers fan, potentially. Now, this is not set in stone. There could be a snag tomorrow and this whole thing goes away.
Hope
But
so.
potentially, you have DeAndre Jordan, Paul Pierce, and Rudy Gay as your front court. If I'm Chris Paul, I'm on the first fucking plane out of there along with J.J. Redick.
Yep.
That's GM Doc Rivers, baby.
And if
GM
I'm Boston, I take that flyer on Blake Griffin, whether he re-signs with me or not, because next season you can move him again and get some other pieces. And I like
you could
the
get
trade
another star in return.
I like the trade for Boston because I think that Blake Griffin would help them there. But the only reason I don't like it for Boston is I really think that Al Horford is a better fit at power forward than he is at center.
Yeah.
And
for defensive purposes?
For defensive purposes. And if you're Boston, I can live with giving up one of the Brooklyn picks, but I'm hesitant to give up Jake Crowder. Now, if you tell me you're going to take Avery Bradley off my hands or you're going to take Marcus Smart and James Young off my hands, hell, you can have them with that those picks all day. But I'm hesitant to give up.
You're already giving up on Marcus Smart?
Man,
hey, I would rather give up Marcus Smart than give up Jay Crowder.
Ooh. God, I really like Jay Crowder, but that's the one I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but
Smart's still on a rookie contract.
I remember watching Smart in high school when he played in the Dallas area at
Flower Mound. He went to Flower Mound.
Marcus Flower Mound, whatever and I was not impressed. Like, he was good, but I was like, how is this dude they're talking in mock drafts in the next year of this dude being top 10. And I didn't see it. But after watching him in college, I'm a big fan of Marcus Smart. That dude he's going to be good.
He gets hurt, though, right?
So
he's always hurt.
Los brought up a good point with Rudy Gay that I kind of forgot about. He says that every team that Rudy Gay is traded from does better when he's gone. Memphis, obviously, got better.
Well, Sacramento ain't getting any better, guys. I'm sorry to say it. They might as well trade Cousins because that man is just going to blow up on that whole front office one day.
But see, hey, that's why this trade makes sense, though. That's
why I thought you said he was going to the Celtics. I was like, that would be cool.
I think Cousins, these are like Jay Crowder, I think, is a guy. I think Yorger and Cousins are going to get along just fine. I think that he's a lot like, what's his name?
Mike Malone?
Mike Malone. He's a lot like Mike Malone. Cousins and him are going to get along. I think Cauley Stein's another Cousins guy. Plays hard, gives it all, athletic. Crowder, another Cousins guy. I think Aflalo's actually going to be a DeMarcus Cousins kind of player.
Yeah.
They're bringing in guys I think that Cousins can play with. And I like what they're doing. It shows me that Vlade Divac is making the decisions and not that dumbass owner Ranadive. Who wants to play 5-on-4? The
other rumor that came out, which is not really a rumor, it's been out there. We all know it. I'm a Sixers fan, so I read about it every day. Jahlil Okafor getting pissed off because his name's involved in trade rumors. So he says, first he wants to get pissed and wants to be traded. Then he's like, I love this city. I don't want to go anywhere. Well, Brian Colangelo came out today and said he's absolutely not comfortable heading into the year with all three bigs, meaning Embiid, Noel, and Okafor. But he said he will not make a deal unless it's a good one. So if you're Danny Ainge and you know that one of those guys is on the table, especially Jahlil Okafor, do you look at that deal as a better deal than trying to get Blake Griffin in the long term?
Yep.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin seems to be hurt every year.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. And Jahlil Okafor, for all intents and purposes, is a 20-10 future 20-10 guy, just like Griffin. Like Griffin makes all the plays off the dribble, passes, but when the game's on the line, he makes dumb plays.
And let me clear it up real quick. Okafor came back out and said that he was not upset, that those were just rumors. Yeah. And so I want to clear that up. But it was reported originally that he was upset.
He's obvious. He's playing for. Sorry, Pete, but he's playing for Philadelphia. He's obviously upset.
Yeah.
He wants out. He wants out.
The day that they did the little jersey holding up thing where they present him, he dropped his jersey. Remember that?
Yeah,
the meme?
I remember.
Yeah, he's been pissed since day one.
He knows. I think he knows with everything they have on the roster, the makeup of the team, he doesn't really fit. If everybody's healthy, he just doesn't fit.
Right.
He knows that. He would fit in Boston. He gives them a down-low scorer. And I like Okafor. I'm a big Okafor guy. I think he's going to be a lot better. I like
Okafor on the offensive end. I think he's got to mature on the defensive end, as any second-year guy has to.
Absolutely.
But I roll the dice with Noel, and I roll the dice with Embiid and hope for the best. And Saric is now coming over, so him and Simmons can split the power forward minutes.
Yeah.
And then you get a guard for the future, whether it's a Marcus Smart, which I think would actually fit in perfectly with Philadelphia.
Oh God, if you can, I think if you're Philadelphia and you can get Smart for Okafor, absolutely, and he's your starter. You got your guard.
Correct.
He fits in. And he fits in with what Brett Brown likes to do. Defensive minded, everybody plays hard. He fits in perfectly with the Brett Brown system.
And you can easily move. You can easily move a Jared Bayless to the 2, and then run a Sergio Rodriguez tandem with Marcus Smart, and that's a decent tandem. I mean, that's better than some teams in the league like Brooklyn, what they have as far as guards right now. So
Shane Larkin, is he still there?
No, he's free agent. So right now they got Jeremy Lin and Isaiah Whitehead as who their guards are. Speaking of that, actually segues me into Brooklyn. 2 major contracts thrown out to free agents: Tyler Johnson of the Miami Heat and Alan Crabb of the Portland Trailblazers. Both of those poison pill contracts that Brooklyn tried to throw their way
were matched
by their respective teams. Which, in the end, does that actually open up a spot for Dion Waiters to go to now? Does Brooklyn throw the max at Dion Waiters?
Oh my God! What world do we live in? Oof.
Hey, Harrison Barnes got the max, so
I'm living that. Yes, I'm aware. I'm living that right now. I'm living that.
Yes, I totally agree. It absolutely, and Pete, I said it on.
You're a Waiters guy, I know.
On our podcast, I'm a Waiters guy. I always have been. So yes, you do it. I like Dion Waiters.
He
gives you a legitimate threat offensively.
He had a good series, I think, versus the Warriors. I mean, he was pretty good.
Yeah, he did. He was their best playmaker.
He open layups and threes.
Yeah, and he plays defense. He can play D.
It's just his attitude, man. Like I'll never get
put up some numbers with Brooklyn. I'll give him that.
Yeah. But is he a locker room guy? I just don't know, man.
I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think he is. I think he's fine in the locker room.
The key to Dion Waiters' success will be a player development guy in Kenny Atkinson, the head coach. He's one of the best in developing young guys and getting the most out of them. So to me, he's top 5 on the list of coaches as far as developing young guys. Of course, to me, one of the better coaches is Brad Stevens, but Boston doesn't need him. So if you're going to go somewhere and develop your game all around, then you definitely need to go play for Kenny Atkinson. And I think, although Brooklyn's going to be in the bottom cellar, I think that their development is going to surprise a lot of people. I mean, they have some good pieces in Rondé Hollis-Jefferson that could be potentially good in a few years. Of course, the resurrection of Jeremy Lin. He did well last year. Let's see if he can build on getting another starting job. Sean Kilpatrick had a nice year last year in the D-League and then got called up and did really well in his call-up. They've got Karis LeVert, who will come back from injury. They can develop him. And their front court, you got Brook Lopez there, and you've got Chris McCullough, who's another one they can develop. He's athletic, and hopefully he can learn to shoot and stretch the floor. But they signed Luis Scola, which is basically – I don't really understand that move because it slows them down. They already have the slow-footed Brook Lopez.
Why would he go there anyways? That team just sucks so bad.
I don't know that.
It makes no sense if you're Luis Scola. It doesn't at all.
I don't know. Kind of segueing off Luis Scola, his former team, the Toronto Raptors, signed Big Soli, Jared Solinger. His rights were renounced by the Boston Celtics earlier this week. A actually pretty in-depth article with John Lucas Sr. Came out. You know, he does a lot of mentoring for players, has the drug abuse clinic, and I believe it's in Houston, right, Matt?
Yeah, it's in Houston. Yeah, he does his stuff. He does all that stuff in Houston, and then he'll go regionally to work with high school kids and stuff, and do his camps. Like he does one in Chicago, and he does that so he can bring them all. He takes the top from each of these regional camps, and he brings them into Houston for the major one. But yeah, he did all his stuff with the pros. That's all done in Houston.
Yeah. Well, he basically came out and said that Jared Solinger has a very bad weight problem, and his attitude basically is the reason why the weight doesn't want to go down. He runs and runs and runs, but he doesn't want to accept a proper diet, and he doesn't want to accept that something might actually be genetically wrong with him, that he has a gluten intolerance or, you know, whatever it is. And they basically, Lucas and Solinger's family and his agent all had an intervention with Solinger last year. He was able to drop some weight, and he got down to about 270 pounds, and then he ballooned back up. Right now it's reported he's about 285 to 290, at about 6'7", 6'8" at the most. So to me, Matt, as you said, he's basically Big Baby Davis all over again.
Can I say, I gotta throw this out there, Pete, because I thought it was very funny when you said it. In our pre-show before we went live, we talked about this, and the first thing Pete said was, "Damn, he's fat."
Yes.
I thought it was funny as hell. He's fat.
Hey, he is pretty large. And the thing about it is, a lot of teams are scared to sign him. That's why he only got the 1-year deal. They want
I saw
to
that.
prove himself.
Plus his back too, right? Like he's been having back problems since college.
Yeah, and he only got $6 million.
Right.
He only got.
And in this market, that ain't crap. That's less than what Crowder got, I think.
Yeah, and that says a lot about what teams look for. They want to look to see your condition, because basically Toronto, you know, look how well they did last year. They overachieved, in my opinion. And
I agree.
They're trying to get away from Luis Scola, you know, basically clogging up the paint, not being able to run. They want to run. So Solinger's going to have to get his ass down court and, you know, defend, and he's also going to have to be able to hit shots. So, you know, it's just it's a matter of, does he want it or does he not? And staying in the Eastern Conference, I thought this was kind of funny. Before we got on the show, Lance broke the news to me. My favorite player, sarcastically,
oh gosh,
future All-Star in the making,
signs a 2-year deal with the Chicago Bulls. So you go from Aaron Brooks, let me hoist up a runner from 20 feet out and hit bricks off the side of the rim, and I don't get back on defense, to Isaiah Cannon, who basically may give you some three-point shooting, but hopefully his ass is glued to the bench. Yeah, at least for Chicago Bulls fans' sake.
Man.
So we'll see what happens there.
Oh man.
I think we talked about a little bit about Chicago's chances. You know, basically making the good chance to make the playoffs now with Wade, Butler there. I still think some of the holes in the front court need to be filled. They really need a defensive backup center.
Real quick, Pete. It did come out. Nico will be the starting power forward. He will start.
Okay. I figured they'd have to do something to spread the floor.
Yeah. He's the second best shooter on the. Well, I don't know, man. Maybe Cannon now is the second best. I would look with as bad as shooting as they have outside of Nico and McDermott. I don't mind. Hey, give me some cannonball. Damn it. If you hit some cannonballs at 38, 39 cents. You know where I got that from, Lance? You know about Bill Worrell, right? Houston Rockets. That's what he said. That's where I got because Cannon was with the Rockets. Every time he'd shoot a three, Bill Worrell called it a cannonball. One of the best play-by-play. I love Bill Worrell. Good personality. One of the best. Very biased, though.
Speaking of best shooting on a team, I found something very disturbing yesterday that came out. Everybody's aware of who Gary Neal is. Gary Neal played with the San Antonio Spurs for a few years, most recently with Washington. He got injured last season. He was cut. He came out in an interview and basically threw Jared Dudley, Nene, Garrett Temple, and there was one other guy under the bus saying if all of those guys can make all their millions, I was the best shooter on the team. I was the one that led the bench through 40 games. Basically had a lot of negative stuff to say about his teammates, and it just didn't make sense. You're sitting your ass at home trying to get a contract in the NBA, and you down all of these players, but yet you expect a contract to come.
That makes no sense because now here's the thing, especially making all these comments about Jared Dudley, who by all accounts is one of the nicest guys in the league.
And Jared Dudley came out and he said he actually defended. He took the high road and defended Gary Neal in a sense.
Like I said, one of the nicest
guys. That makes it even worse for you to say something like that when they take the high road.
Right.
Like I said, one of the nicest guys in the league who can shoot the basketball, plays defense.
Yep.
Man, I don't know why you'd say anything about Jared Dudley. He's like the consummate professional. He always does the right thing.
And the thing about it, basically, let me pull up the quote from Dudley. Basically, like I said, he took the high road. He tried to say, as much positive as he could about Gary Neal. But Gary Neal just went in, on the team. And basically he said he was nothing but a good teammate, loved his energy on the court. The man has a gift to score and get healthy. So basically, that in a long, basically in the long scheme of things, it basically doesn't make Gary Neal look good. Gary Neal tried to come back after he tried to delete the post. He basically came back out and says, if they don't have a story, they will make one. 6-side LOL.
What a really dude, you done lost all credibility now.
So basically, the original tweet was, I was the leading scorer of the bench through 40 games and the best three-point shooter on the Washington Wizards. And the contracts my fellow second unit members received: $8 million per year, $6.5 million per year, $10 million per year, and $3 million per year. So I mean, come on. In the grand scheme of things, Gary, you had a good career a few years ago. Leave it at that. There's a lot of players that have egos, that have to take a step back after injury, rehab yourself, prove yourself, and then you can talk shit.
But this ain't even a star player.
Correct.
Goodness. This is one thing if he was starting. He's talking about, off the bench. Well, there you go. I mean, come on.
But you know what? What Gary Neal needs to do is just shut his mouth
and play.
Do what you need to do. Get your workouts in and go to the Minnesota Timberwolves because they need outside shooting.
Julian, shout out to Julian. He said leading scorer off the bench on a team that didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to that's a good one, Julian. So yeah, shout out to Julian.
Be like my boy Wesley Matthews. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
So,
I see. Yeah.
I mean, basically, there weren't a lot of big name signings with free agency, that we really need to cover. We can talk about Jared Jack kind of providing that veteran point guard presence for Atlanta that they need. Yeah. Some stability there. Chris Humphries re-signs with Atlanta. I don't think he really was going to get much else anywhere. Mm-hmm. Really, there's not a lot that's happened, like major moves.
LeBron still hasn't even got signed yet. I really want to see how much he gets paid.
Who is it?
LeBron. He still hasn't got signed yet.
Yeah, I think he's going to wait to see what they do with J.R. Smith, personally. I don't think Smith, unless he goes somewhere like a Brooklyn, he's not going to get an astronomical amount from a team because they know he's hot and cold. Lance Stevenson's another one that's hot and cold. I mean, I don't know how many offers he legitimately gets. And the funny thing about it is the guys that are sitting as restricted free agents, J.R. Smith, Dion Waiters, Lance Stevenson, they're all questionable character guys. So, attitude first, and that's first and foremost. And I think the way the NBA is going with the salary cap, basically, you can sit there and get a second-round guy and sign him to a 2-year deal and pay less than you would putting a J.R. Smith on your bench and probably get as much production from, the defensive end at least. And then offensively, you might lose something. But if you can get, a Bryn Forbes or, a couple other shooters, on the offensive end, that makes up for it for a lesser contract. So, I don't know how much of a market there's going to be for J.R. Smith.
Hey, crazy as it sounds, we just talked, Gary Neal may be an option for the Cavs.
Yeah, I mean, cheaper option.
Crazy as it sounds, if he stays healthy, yeah. He can shoot just as good as JR. He's a high character guy. He'll defend. He can defend because he played for Pop.
High character guy until
championship pedigrees.
Recently.
Yeah, he was a high character guy until he made that. But he'll be fine. You caught me on that one, Lance.
I mean, it's basically if your players like a Dion Waiters and you're a J.R. Smith and you see the Brooklyn Nets sign Gravis Vasquez over you, that's got to be a wake-up call. Not to take anything away from Gravis Vasquez, because I think he was injured last year. He had the down season. But talent-wise, I mean, they need so much of a scoring aspect in Brooklyn. They need help on the offensive end, and Gravis Vasquez gets signed first. That says a lot.
Well, they got a new. They got that Sean Marks dude from the Spurs, so
right.
He's gonna do something like the Spurs do, and just sign low-key guys that are high character. I mean, I see that. So
high character is the phrase of the day.
It is.
Shout out to Gary Neal.
Gary Neal, get some high character in your system.
That's right. Hey,
basically,
I had to give him some laughs.
Basically, there's not a lot of big names that are out there. I mean, of course, LeBron didn't re-sign, but we all know where he's going. Basically, yeah. Basically, you got Dion Waiters, J.R. Smith, Jordan Hill, who really hasn't had any offers on the table. The Timberwolves were interested at one point, and Charlotte was interested, but they both signed guys to fill those roles, and Cole Aldridge going to Minnesota, and then Roy Hibbert going to Charlotte. Donatas Motiejunas, he's going to end up going back to Houston to be the third big man there. Terrence Jones, I really thought he would have slid into the Brooklyn Nets spot that Luis Scola took, but apparently not. Thomas Robinson,
Terrence
another guy.
Terrence Jones to the Warriors.
Today,
he would take less to win a championship.
Oh,
take
man.
Less.
Mario Chalmers, who's coming off an injury, I think that he could definitely receive some interest from a contender. A team like a Sacramento that needs a veteran backup behind Darren Collison, who's been inconsistent. They could use him.
I heard Golden State was interested in Chalmers.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm serious.
I mean, to get back to LeBron yelling out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad fit, but he doesn't play over Sean Livingston. He'd have to play the two.
He can come in and give you those spot Ian Clark minutes.
Yeah, Ian Clark's back though.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So I mean,
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
They need to go get Ray Allen. Go get Ray Allen.
I don't think Allen's coming out of retirement personally. Another one is Amari Stoudemire.
Amari said he wants to go with the Knicks again.
He wants to go to He wants to go play with Derrick Rose.
Hey, he can go back with Melo. He can deal with that again. Basically, Melo ruined Amari's career personally.
Yeah, or just take the minimum contract and go to Golden State.
Yeah.
He ain't about that life. He and Zaza.
Basically, that covers, I think, everything regarding NBA free agency. There wasn't a lot. Apparently, the rumor is the Olympics start on August the 5th, and there's supposedly going to be a couple trades that come through before that. So I'm curious to see what those trades are. Big names, of course, Blake Griffin, DeMarcus Cousins, Jimmy Butler, Ricky Rubio, all those names are out there. Rudy Gay's out there, of course. Me personally, get Jimmy off the Bulls, get some pieces from Minnesota, let Tibbs have Jimmy, and if you're the Bulls, put some young players around Dwayne Wade and go from there. But
I don't think the Bulls trade Jimmy this year. Now I think they've committed to giving it this year a chance.
I think they do too. But I'm just saying, if I was them, I would trade him.
Yeah, if they were going to trade Jimmy, they'd have done it already. But the way the roster's made up, there's no way you can now. You've said we are committed to making the second round this year. We're going to stick with it. We're going to the second round. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get to play Cleveland in the conference final.
I hope and pray that my Sixers make a move for one of the big men. I don't care which one. Personally, I think Okafor should go. I want that to happen so I can just figure out what this team is really going to look like, overall, and go from there. Ben Simmons being at the power forward spot, I like that move. I think he rebounds well and he can push it in transition. But ultimately, I think he could be a small forward if he can learn to shoot the ball, better. And you have Sarge at the 4. But right now, Ben Simmons at the 4 with Sarge coming off the bench, I think they'll be okay. Excited for my Sixers. Went ahead and ordered my Ben Simmons T-shirt, so hopefully it'll ship soon.
Yes.
He signed his contract, so NBAstore.com. You better be shipping my damn shirt so I can wear it soon. I wish I would already had it so I can take Sixers pride and go forward.
That's right.
So
that's right. Hey, that's a good segue so we can get into a little summer league.
Yeah. And unfortunately, basically, I think Lance threw up a little bit when we said we were going to talk about summer league in depth because it has been a little bit down than recent years. But I want to kind of go pick by pick. For most of the guys, we just talked about Simmons. His ability to pass the ball is first and foremost. I mean, it's electric. He's able to get up and down the court. His defense has been, pretty solid. He just needs to work on his shooting. So we'll move on to Brandon Ingram. Ingram has really struggled out of the gate. Quite honestly, I think his weight is an issue because he can't bang inside to score. So basically, he's taking a 2 dribble, then a jump shot, and his shot's off right now. So he's not quite the shooter, that he was billed to be coming out. But I think developmental-wise, he'll be okay. Kind of what's stolen the show for the Lakers has been D'Angelo Russell. Unfortunately, he hit that game-winning 3 over my Sixers, and I was cursing him, to say the least. But we'll see in a matter of time what happens with Ingram. What do you guys got? Anything you want to add on Ingram?
I think he'll be okay. I mean, his skill set is there. He's lightweight, but I think the skill set is there, and it seems like maybe he just doesn't have confidence in his shot right now because, like you said, basically it's a 1-2 dribble pull-up, and that's his game right now because they're just pushing him off his spots. He gets hit when he goes in. It will be interesting to see how he adjusts once the season starts because I know guys will get better. He'll get stronger. And let's not forget, KD was a very slender young man coming out of Texas.
Right.
He was just fine, but I don't think Ingram is the shooter that KD was. As good of a shooter as Ingram can be, I don't think he's the shooter that KD was at this same stage of their career.
Yeah.
Being right out of college. KD was a much better shooter, much better ball handler to me as well. He's kind of like a poor man's KD, which is,
that's a really,
I guess that's a compliment.
That's good company either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a poor man's KD.
Man, I will be a poor man's KD.
You know what? While we're on the Lakers, though, let's talk about Larry Nance Jr.
Yes.
He's been fantastic.
Yeah, he's played very well.
I got to say, yeah, he defended Ben Simmons well, and that's not an easy task because, back to Ben Simmons, the guy's going to be fantastic. Sixer fans, you're going to be fine. He's going to be great. But
he's going to move to the point guard spot next season. Right now, he's a point forward, and he'll be the point guard of the future. At 6'9", really 6'9". They got him listed at 6'10". Realistically, 6'9". What he does with the ball is just, man, it's phenomenal. He can't shoot. I'm answering Cheryl's question. At the same time, I'm kind of.
He shoots a good ball, though.
It's to me, he needs more arc on it, and he needs to work on his mechanic overall. Because if he can get a set shot, it might be slow, but at least he can consistently hit an 18-foot jumper. He doesn't need to have a three-point shot. The way he can get in the lane and pass the ball, he doesn't have to have a three-point shot right now.
He gets to his spots so well on the floor.
He
gets where he wants as a guard.
And he's going to make players like Timothy Luwawu, Nick Stauskas, if he can keep his ass out of Europe, players like that, Robert Covington, all the spot-up guys, he's going to keep those guys getting paychecks because he's going to get that ball, to them. So, Simmons will be fine. Ingram, he'll end up being fine once he adjusts and calms down from the nerves. The third pick, Jaylen Brown. He's as advertised, very athletic, hustles, can't shoot a lick, but I think he's going to be a sleeper.
Can defend. Yes. Yeah. I think Boston, they took the guy. I think that's their small forward of the future. I don't think Danny Ainge did a bad job going after Jaylen Brown. That's the guy they wanted all along, and you can see it. He's going to be an elite defender. He's got a man's body, super athletic. He just has to develop. He doesn't even have to be just be a slightly above average shooter, and he's going to be just fine because he get to the rim. He handles it really well. He's going to be a good one, I think. He was even at number 3. That's a sleeper. He's going to be nice. I like Jaylen Brown, and he plays really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what we're seeing with Jaylen Brown is, he's able to get to the rim. I just don't think he's basically the game's at a little bit different pace than he's at right now. Once it slows down for him, he'll get comfortable driving in. He's not going to go balls to the wall, driving to the hole. He'll get under control, and he'll look a lot better.
Yes. So he does because he has been a tad bit out of control at times. He's just trying to do too much.
Yeah. Fourth pick, Dragan Bender. I don't know what Phoenix is thinking right now. They're playing Bender at the small forward spot, basically having him shoot three-pointers, and that's just not what I personally envisioned him. I envisioned him as a 4 that could run the floor in transition, be able to catch lobs, and then be able to hit the 20-foot jumper consistently. Three-point range is a little bit out of his range right now, and I think defensively he's just not there, as most European guys aren't. Tyler Ulis out of Kentucky.
Yeah, he's a good one.
He's going to be pretty damn good for them. He makes, in my opinion, 2 years from now, which I think Brandon Knight's going to end up getting moved before then, but he makes Brandon Knight expendable if he can make up for the lack of his height in Tyler Ulis.
I think he can. I think he can, because you see what Isaiah Thomas does, and I know Ulis isn't a scorer, but he's a playmaker. And I will say this right now, call me crazy, and just pay attention to the words, everybody. Tyler Ulis is the best point guard the Suns have.
Yeah.
He's the best point guard. The guy just knows how to play, and the chemistry he has with Devin Booker, playing with him a year at Kentucky, which I think is a good segue into Devin Booker. That guy's going to be so good.
I'm going to let you roll with Devin Booker because that's your guy. So you talk about what he's done.
That's been my guy. Man, Devin Booker. I mean, he only played 2 games, didn't play today. He's probably done for Summer League. He's got to do the select team trading with Team USA coming up next week. But that guy went in for 2 games and just was fantastic. He shot the ball extremely well, silky smooth from the outside. He's got to work on his defense, but I mean, I don't even know if he's 20 years old yet, so that will come. But his playmaking ability is fantastic. When they took Ulis out, they kept Devin Booker in the game, and he was running point guard, making plays for everybody, driving to the basket. The guy is just post game too. His post game is really good. I did not think he had a post game like that. He was abusing those guys, and the guy is just. I wish the Bulls would have just tried to make some crazy offer, Jimmy, for Devin Booker, and I know Cheryl might not like this, but damn, Devin Booker is going to be the best 2 guard in the NBA in 3 years. That dude is great. He will catch up to Clay defensively because he has all the tools.
I think he's going to be top 5 or 6 in 3 years.
I think he could be number 1. He's going to be better than James Harden.
Yeah.
No defense.
Yeah.
And what other 2 guards really are out there other than Harden and Klay Thompson he has to catch?
Yeah. One guy I want to talk about, and we'll wrap up the Suns. Basically, who they picked Dragan Bender at 4, and they were looking at Marquise Chris at 4. They ended up getting him in the trade with Sacramento. We'll get to Sacramento in a second, or just in a little bit, unfortunately. But Chris is actually really impressed. He's very athletic, very aware defensively, and I think he's going to help them sooner rather than later. Because a lot of people thought he was going to be a kind of project for the future, and I actually think Dragan Bender is going to be the one that's further away.
Yeah, I agree. Because as crazy as it sounds, like we questioned Chris with his basketball IQ because he fouled out 15 times in college. But I can tell Bender has a good IQ. He's just not mature. But I think Chris is more mature. I think he's more athletic. Has a really nice shooting stroke from the outside. Super athletic, as you said. Reminds me a lot of a young Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah,
I see a lot of a young Amari in his game. Better shooter, though. Better shooter than Amari. Maybe not as athletic, but better shooter. Close. I think they got a keeper in him. He's going to be really good. And I think defensively that he's going to be better than Amari because I think he'll want to work and be good defensively. Because we know Amari was not, and Lance can speak to this, even though Amari was old on your Mavericks, but not a very good defender.
Right, no.
Not a very good defender. But I think Chris is going to be a good defensive player. And he's your prototypical stretch 4 who just happens to be really athletic.
On to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and this kid is the best so far in the summer league. Chris Dunn. I think that Tom Thibodeau was basically intrigued. He didn't want to part with Chris Dunn in any kind of trades, and you can kind of see why. He came out basically has looked very polished, as many thought he would. I'm disappointed my Sixers couldn't find a way to get him, but I'm very intrigued for him to take over for Ricky Rubio by the trade deadline.
Yeah. Real quick, Pete. Real quick. Speaking of Sixers and Chris Dunn, I don't think him and Simmons can play together. I think the Sixers it's going to work out not getting him. I don't think they're going to play well. They would play well together. I didn't think that at first, but now after seeing what I'm seeing from Simmons and we knew what Chris Dunn could do, I think the Sixers were smart not getting him. It's going to work out for them. Well, I think Simmons is your point guard of the future.
Yeah, I mean, for this year, the stopgate's going to be Sergio Rodriguez, Jared Bayless, so we'll see what happens. Yeah. Hope for the best.
Yeah, but Chris Dunn is a beast.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we're going to see a Damian Lillard type season from him, like how Lillard was as a rookie. I think that's what we're going to get from maybe not the points, just because they're loaded with offensive players, but I think you're going to see he's really going to play well, and he will. I won't be surprised if he's their starter opening game.
Wow,
he's better than Ricky. He's better than Ricky Rubio.
You think he starts right away?
That dude is. Yes, I do. I know Thibodeau does not like rookies, but he's a 4-year. He played a lot of college years. He'll be a Thibodeau guy. He can defend. I think Thibodeau is going to love him. That's why if he was hesitant to move him for Jimmy Butler, he sees something. And Thibodeau loves Jimmy.
Los brought up a good point. God Shamgod, who is he's played for the Wizards in the NBA. He's a legendary, basically street ball. Basically, is a street ball legend, I should say. He turned into doing a lot of off-season training young prospects. Yes. He trained Chris Dunn while at Providence and earned himself some looks by a lot of NBA teams. Shamgod did to be an assistant coach. So, we'll see what happens with Dunn. Rolling into the 6th pick, the college veteran Buddy Hield, looking a little bit like he's out of place right now. Forcing a lot of things.
Little Ben McLemore-ish.
Yeah.
Which is what I was afraid of.
Yeah. And
he went to the Kings, right? No, he went to Pelicans.
Right? But Pelicans. Hield is on the Pelicans.
Okay, there you go. He went to Pelicans. All right.
And I don't know, in all honesty, how Hield fits because Holiday needs the ball. That's the point guard. And Hield is not going to effectively be able to get the open looks that he got in college in the NBA. So where does his scoring come from? He's got to score in volumes, which you're not going to get that many looks in the NBA. If you don't hit your first 3 or 4, you're not getting the ball again.
But look who he's playing with, too. How are you going to be a volume shooter with Anthony Davis, Holiday, Tyreek Evans? How are you going to be a volume shooter with those 3 guys ahead of you? He's got to catch and shoot. I mean, hopefully, if he can knock down the open 3, he'll be good for him. If he can make it. But I'm hesitant whether he can, and that's what scared me. We talked about it on our draft pre-show. That was the one thing that scared me about him. I saw possible Ben McLemore. He seems like that guy. I hope it turns around for him, and it's just summer league. But I'm scared that he could end up being. We could be seeing Ben McLemore Part 2.
And that's the thing. Most guys struggle in the summer league, and they end up totally different when the games start. Yeah. You got training camp to go through. You got the rest of the off season, to get better. So I'm not going to judge somebody off summer league, at all. Another guy that struggled is Jamal Murray, which I had my doubts that Jamal Murray would be able to play point guard in the NBA, and I think he's too small to play the 2. He has really struggled with his ball handling and running a team. He can score, but another volume guy.
Yeah, he's not efficient at all.
Right.
Not an efficient scorer. And go ahead.
I was going to say, in Denver with Michael Malone, I don't know if he's not a defensive guy, he's not getting on the floor. Score all you want, but if you're not defending, you're not playing.
You can't.
He's not going to play over Moutier. He's not going to play over Gary Harris. He's not going to play over
Gary Harris. No.
Right, and he's not playing over Will Barton. So where do you find minutes? And you got to think
there aren't any.
You've got Malik Beasley, that's hurt right now. That's coming back from injury as well to compete with. That's a lot of guys for the two guard spot. So essentially, he has to play the point guard behind Moutier, but he's also got Jameer Nelson to compete with.
Yeah, who's a veteran.
Right. So a lot of question marks.
I'm not a big fan of Jamal Murray, and I could end up being completely wrong, and this guy becomes a fantastic NBA player. But when I'm watching, everybody's like, this guy's one of the 2 or 3 best shooters in the draft. I'm watching his workout videos, saw the highlights from Kentucky. I don't see it. I don't see a guy who has an elite shooting stroke. It's not there. He shoots a really flat ball. The ball's out in front of his head like this. There's not much of a window. I don't get it. Like, I don't know why this talk of him being this great shooter. I'm not seeing it. Hell, I'm more impressed with Jimmer Fredette than him.
Yeah, and Fredette is basically, trying to. He's been running the 2 guard the last few games, and Fredette is trying to make the team. I don't think he does. I think he's basically auditioning for Europe contracts because I think Jimmer's done in the NBA, and sadly to say,
said he'll go overseas, and he's.
Yeah. Sadly to say, Nick Stauskas is right behind him. So.
Yeah, he's headed that way. But in fairness to Stauskas, it was not until year 3 that J.J. Redick finally clicked. But what I fear with Stauskas, and I love Brett Brown. I think he's a fantastic coach, but I don't know if he has that Stan Van Gundy effect like J.J. had. Because if you listen to J.J. Redick, he'll tell you he credits everything to Stan. And I don't know if Brett Brown has that kind of an effect on Nick Stauskas. I think we got to be fair because it wasn't until year 3 till it clicked for JJ, and Stauskas is also 2 years younger than JJ when he came into the league. So it may take Stauskas. It might not be till year 4, which somebody will pick his contract up. Yeah, if they let him go, somebody I think would give him a shot in that 4th year. Somebody will give him a shot. But after that, he's got to show some signs this year. He has to. And it's possible because he's more athletic than J.J. was. He's taller, not as good of a shooter, obviously, but still. I think it could be there for Stauskas. He's got a shot. We'll just have to see. But you're right. He may end up in Europe next year.
Yeah. Jakob Podol for Toronto.
What?
It's not Jacob, it's Jakob.
Oh, it's Jakob.
It's Jakob.
I learned something new. I learned something new today.
I learned something new yesterday because I did not know it was Jakob, and then I read that he was in an interview and they said, Jacob, and he said, no, it's pronounced Jakob, and he was very nice about it, but I thought that was intriguing.
No, it's Jakob.
Yeah, it's Jakob. And so he's looked pretty decent. I mean, he's what I thought he was. He can, score in the post, defend a little bit. Basically he's filling in the Bismack Biyombo role potentially for Toronto. He's not going to be asked to start, play big minutes. He'll kind of ease his way in. I think he's, a good pick for Toronto of what they're trying to do. So. We'll see there. I kind of want to skip him and get to your guy, Matt, Thon Maker.
Yes. So I think he's proving.
Talk a little bit about it.
Yes. I think my guy, Thon Maker, is proving he was absolutely worthy of the number 10 pick. He's making his mistakes. He's light, but he's 7'1", super athletic, dribble, pass, shoot. You're seeing just his ceiling in this. I mean, what did he get the first game? 15 points, 13 rebounds. Backdoors, that was 17 points, 17 rebounds. He didn't score much yesterday. Had 10 points, fouled out with 10 fouls.
Yeah.
It happens. It's summer league. But he only took 5 shots, and I was telling Pete this on the pre-show. It's because Rashad Vaughn and Terran Petaway are jacking up shots. Thon Maker took 5 shots. Get him the basketball. He has more of a future than anybody on that summer league roster. Thon Maker is a future starter on that team. Give him the basketball. Let him get some work in. 5 shots?
Does he play the center spot? Because you've got Antetokounmpo.
Not this year.
Okay.
Not this year. He won't start. He'll come off the bench this year, 15, 20 minutes a game, I think.
Okay.
I think he will play. He will play, but not much. But year 2, I think he eventually could be the starting center. And think about how skilled you have of a lineup there. Antetokounmpo, Middleton, Jabari Parker, you got Thon Maker. Look at those 4 guys. Huge. Even Michael Carter-Williams is a skilled guy, he just can't shoot. I mean, they're huge. The defensive possibilities with that group, oh my goodness. If I'm Jason Kidd, I'm salivating at the mouth with the defensive possibilities. They just have to get some shooting. Oh my gosh. And that's why I love Thon Maker. He fits long, athletic guys who can play. And Thon Maker may end up being the best shooter of the group. He can really shoot the ball. He's gonna be one of those guys we're gonna look at and say, how the hell did he fall to 10? He should have been top 4. I like Thon Maker. I'm
gonna let you roll with. Hey, you got right with the 10th pick.
Hey, remember when I said I thought he could have been? I said I would have took him in the top 3. Yeah. I said that on the pre-show. I think I'm sticking with it. I like Thon Maker.
You are selling your pick, man.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
Another guy.
That's my guy.
From Milwaukee's been Malcolm Brogdon, which was their 2nd-round pick. He's actually played really well. They've been playing him at the point guard spot, which I think he can kind of ease into the shooting guard role, but they want to have him, work on his ball handling, which was one of the things that kind of was a knock on him. I think with the competition going against Rashard Vaughn, I think Vaughn has struggled again this year in Summer League. I don't think he took the leap forward that many thought he was going to take. Basically with Brogdon, he is an experienced college player. So he's a little bit older than most of the prospects that came out. He's 23. He'll be 24 in December. So he has that guard experience and could make a difference there. Kind of rolling forward, some of the guys that have shown off through Summer League. One guy who's just looked, I don't know how Sacramento functions as a franchise, because you pick Georgios Papagiannis at 13, and the guy was a 2nd-round pick, and you pick him in the lottery, and he has struggled so bad. Number 1, he's a center when you already have Willie Cauley-Stein and you have DeMarcus Cousins. And then you put him on the floor in Summer League against guys that are going to run up and down the floor. He's so out of place and it was that bad. Yesterday he shot 0 for 7. He barely can rebound the ball. Defensively, he's not strong enough to defend anybody yet. I just don't understand Vlade Divac in the press conference saying they've watched him, for the past 2 seasons, and then basically said that he's going to be a talent, he's going to be a low post threat and all this stuff, and it's just not there. Skal Labissiere.
So Pete, is he 2 years away from being 2 years away?
He's 4 years away from being 4 years away.
Damn.
He's going to have to go overseas until he's probably like Sabonis' age and come back.
Sabonis senior, right? Until he's 30.
Until he's Arvydas Sabonis' age. Go overseas, come back. The NBA by that point might revert back around to playing, the big man, down low again at that point, and he might have a shot. But he's just, right now, it's not going to work. Skal Labissiere, basically stretch 4 right now. He's not going to be a center. He can shoot from the outside, but he is raw all the way around. He's not going to play much this year. Malachi Richardson is exactly what people thought he was. He's a freshman out of Syracuse. He can shoot the ball, but it has to be high volume. He hasn't shot it extremely well. So the Kings just baffle me. They get
like they do every year.
They get Garrett Temple, and then they got these guys behind them that aren't going to play. They're going to be bottom dwellers, even though I like Dave Yorger as a coach. Cousins is like one game away from just snapping on the entire team and having a meltdown again. And he's going to demand a trade, and they're going to have to get some assets for it. I hope they get more than a box of Cracker Jacks and, basically some bench bum that is on the bench somewhere, because I could see somebody like Danny Ainge fleecing the hell out of Vlade Divac and taking a first-round pick and DeMarcus Cousins for Tyler Zeller and a second rounder. I could see that in one of the trades.
And they'll throw in Adam Morrison as the player to be named later.
Yeah, something awful, because Divac I'm sorry, that franchise is the most dysfunctional. People can say what they want to about how bad the Sixers were and all that, but
they were bad on purpose. They're not dysfunctional.
Sacramento they just take the cake.
Yeah, they're over here. They fire coaches. The best coach that Cousins probably had in a while. They fired him
to get George Karl, who was way past his prime.
Yeah, and George Karl, pretty much the month that he got there, he's already talking about when to trade Cousins.
Basically.
That's how you make an impression. That's how you make an impression on the best player on the team, franchise player. Oh, we need to trade him.
No one's untradeable.
Good job, George. Good job, George.
Couple guys.
Let's not talk about the Kings, please. This is depressing.
Couple guys that are left. We'll talk about Denzel Valentine for Chicago. Really good three-point shooter in college. Having trouble adjusting to the NBA, but I think he'll get there.
Yes.
I don't think he'll have much problems. Right now, I don't know, because Wade's there and Jimmy Butler can play, shooting guard as well. I don't know he plays a lot of minutes. I do think he could easily beat out Tony Snell. But,
not many people would have trouble with Tony Snell. He was
pretty
terrible.
much everybody but Tony Snell knows that he could beat out Tony Snell. So I didn't say, anything that nobody didn't already think. But
great, that's a great analytics right there, man.
Exactly.
That's right. That's what the eye test tells that to Pete.
There you go.
Why the eye test?
We were talking about analytics versus the eye test before the show, and the eye test wins every time. I'm sorry.
Yes.
With Valentine, I think he's not a lot. Basically expected of him to come out right away, but I think by next season he'll be a pivotal piece to that bench as they look to kind of piece together some different guys on that roster to fit Hoiberg's system.
What is Hoiberg's system anymore? I don't even know what that means anymore, because they are going far away from the supposed system.
It was space and pace, but that's not happening with Wade.
Rondo and Wade in the starting lineup.
Robin Lopez. Yeah, that's not happening.
No.
They're going to use the space and pace with the bench unit.
Oh, God.
With Felicio.
Oh.
Let's see. Who else do we have that kind of made an impact? Wade Baldwin, decent. He's still about a year or two away. That's the thing with this draft. Compared to next year's draft, this draft, a lot of these guys are going to be sitting behind next year's guys. Next year's draft is so loaded. Guys like Karis LeVert and Bryce Johnson and Skal Labissiere, they're all going to be sitting next year behind guys that are coming out next year in the draft, in my opinion. A lot of guys haven't played because of injury, like Beasley and LeVert haven't played. There was contract issues with the trade for Atlanta, so Taurean Prince didn't play until yesterday. Domantas Sabonis, we didn't get a look at him because the Orlando trade with Serge Ibaka wasn't completed in time for the Orlando Summer League. A guy who actually is someone that surprised me is DeAndre Bembry with Atlanta. He has actually looked pretty solid out at St. Joseph's. I know it's Summer League and people get hyped up. It's not real games. It's not real competition. But he's looked very well. And another sleeper, and I'm not just biased because I'm a Sixers fan, but Timothé Luwawu has looked very good. Stauskas, you better step it up because Luwawu is taking your minutes. I can see it coming. And, those are basically the guys that have made an impact. Have you guys kind of seen anybody else? If you guys have watched Summer League at all, has anybody else stood out to you that we haven't talked about?
Man, I think we've pretty much covered most of it. I think, actually, let me get to Felicio from the Bulls. I think has looked really good. I think he's looked like a rotation guy for them.
Do you think he gets backup center minutes?
Yes, I do. I think he did really good last year for him down the stretch, getting some minutes with injuries, to guys like Powell and Taj. He did really well for them and looked like a rotation guy even last year at the end. So I think that's been a big thing. I think Felicio is going to do some things for them. He's going to give them a lot off the bench. He can play.
Okay. I think that basically covers everything. Do you guys got anything that you want to cover that we haven't covered? Floor is yours. Take it away.
Well, I'm going to say one thing. It's not basketball related, but baseball. Cubs finally got a win on Sunday, snapping this horrible streak they've been on. And all Cubs fans worldwide are probably.
I thought they were supposed to win the World Series this year. What happened?
They are going to win the World Series this year. I'm not off of them. I'm still I'm a diehard Cubs fan, but it was good to see them finally get a win on the last day before the All-Star break, and so we'll lead that into the second half of the season, and the charge is started for a World Series championship back to the Chicago Cubs for the first time in over 100 years. Go Cubs.
Okay. Real quick side note. Shout out to Amazon Prime Day. They had MLB The Show 16 for the PS4 on sale for $15.
Damn.
So it was a lightning deal basically to all Prime members, so I was able to snag that. So I'm curious to see.
Nice.
I finally have time to actually play it. So I'm dying to see what it's like and get that started. Shout out to Shoe Collector because I've been watching basically between his Twitter feed and Twitch, kind of some of his MLB The Show, so that got me intrigued. So shout out to Shoe. Lance, what you got, man? What do you want to cover?
We got to get Shoe Collector on here. We got to get Shoe Collector on here.
Yeah, we absolutely do.
I want to have Shoe on. Yeah.
All right.
I'm just simulating until the off season's over with right now. So.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, man. Maybe I'll get around to watch some Summer League games. I'm just, I don't know. They're so sloppy, man. I just don't like watching them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I'm not gonna get in a long drawn out thing because we can save it for another show. But I just want to reiterate to everybody, out there to just be safe. Kind of when you're out there amongst one another and just continue to build together as a community and love one another. I did see a video that was really intriguing. I believe it was yesterday or the day before. There was a bunch of protesters. I can't remember what city it was. Lance, it might even have been Dallas.
Yeah, some over there on the. Hold on, are you talking about where they got into on the highway? Because that happened today or yesterday.
It was a bunch of it was black protesters, and then you had a white protesters, and they came together and actually hugged each other and shook hands, and
that's probably
not
what it was.
Stop all the hate, and it was actually really moving to see, because the way the video started out, you thought, oh shit, all hell's gonna break loose, and And that's not what happened at all. I mean, they literally, you could hear them saying, hey, I'm sorry, for what happened, and put their differences aside. You couldn't get any more racially diverse than that group. And the two leaders of the group basically spoke out and said, we've got to stop this violence as Americans and, basically build together as a country. And it was just so moving to see. And then the other half of it here in Atlanta, they had a lot of protesters, regarding the police, and a lot of protesters came out and actually gave hugs to the police and thanked them for their service. And it went a long way because it was white cops, black cops, Hispanic cops, and just said they appreciate everything they do. And it just reiterates there's so many good cops out there that are against racial discrimination that, they get pushed to the side in all of this. And in the end, it doesn't have to be that way. We can come together and build together as a society and stop all this bullshit. And let's focus on voting locally and getting those politicians behind us that share our same views and make a difference. So that's all I have to say. Don't want to get into a big discussion about it. Just wanted to throw that out there and leave it at that so people can take their opinions. Oh, and for the two people, just so you know, for the two people that decided to comment possibly on the video, I did reject you and I reported you to YouTube. All the racial shit was not needed. I'm not going to repeat it on air, but it was very foul and uncalled for, and I really hope you get banned from YouTube. So thank you for I saw.
So let me translate what Pete is saying. Pete said, "Fuck you." That's what Pete just said. Sorry.
Basically, and we're not a PG-13 show, so
yeah. I'm sorry, Pete. You're being Tim Duncan. I wanted to be Ron Artest.
There you go. Hey, that's quite all right. We don't have time for that shit here. We ain't putting up with it. So, basically, you all can go fuck yourselves and go spam one of those racial boards and white supremacy boards for all I care. Go do that shit somewhere else. So. That's it, everybody. We'll be back on Thursday night. I'm working on a special show for you guys. I'm hoping and praying that it's going to work out. If it's not going to work out this week, we will have it within the next week or two. It's just a scheduling ordeal. It's about NBA 2K and how it works with how the Warriors are so dominant. Basically, it's going to be working with a special YouTuber that is very well known and very, very well liked. Does a lot of videos. I don't want to name him by name because I don't want to put him on the spot that he has to come on this week. He is moving, so might have some possible delays this week. But trust me, when I get confirmation, I'll be getting those links out, and I'm very excited. Want to work with him to show some of the nuances of what Golden State's offense, what you can get out of it in NBA 2K without cheesing, and then the other side of it, what you can do in 2K to stop them without cheesing. Some good teams to run with and some good plays to pick as well. So look out for that coming soon. And that's it for this show, and I appreciate everybody for watching, and we'll see you on Thursday, and hope everybody has a good next couple of days.